They lost 27-20 in New Jersey, and it felt less like a football game and more like a slow-motion collapse you could see coming from the locker room doorway. Two special teams touchdowns in the first quarter, a kickoff return and a punt return, put Cleveland in an early hole it never climbed out of. The Jets' special teams flipped the field and flipped the script, and the Browns spent the rest of the day playing catch-up. Hindustan Times. You can draw a straight line from those returns to the post-game noise. Kene Nwangwu's kickoff and Isaiah Williams' punt return weren't mere highlights. They were momentum nukes. Coaches preach win the phases for a reason. Offense, defense, special teams. And when one phase self-destructs in the first quarter, the other two have to be flawless to overcome it. Cleveland wasn't. The blocking lanes were missed, tackling was sloppy, and a unit that's supposed to be dependable handed the Jets 2 free scores. The scoreboard reflected it, and so did the mood. SI. The quarterback debate will swallow the rest of the headlines, but don't pretend the QB controversy exists in a vacuum. Dillon Gabriel finished 17 of 32 for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the stat line on paper looks okay, but he took 6 sacks, and those shouted weaknesses are the kinds of details that cripple drives. The Browns lost at critical moments, committed drive-killing penalties late, and allowed the Jets to run out the clock after a brutal set of defensive infractions in the final minutes. The game wasn't one throwaway, it was an accumulation of failures across the roster. CT Insider Cider. Even so, Kevin Stefanski publicly doubled down. After the loss, he said he would stick with Dillon, a line that lands like both reassurance and a challenge. Coaches who declare their starters sometimes do it to steady a locker room. Sometimes they do it because they genuinely think the young player gives them the best chance. Stefanski picked the former this week. That decision, to keep Gabriel in the saddle for Week 11 against a hot Ravens team, will be dissected if results don't follow. CT Insider, the bench is blowing up on social feeds. Fans want Shedeur Sanders loudly and immediately. The son of Deion Sanders has become a social media lightning rod, hyped by followers, prodded by pundits, and idle on the Browns' depth chart despite the team's offensive struggles. The pressure isn't just online theater. It becomes real in the stadium and in the stands when every turnover and misread gets framed as, what if Shedeur was in there? The team insists on development over spectacle, but the optics of a 2-7 season mean patience is a luxury no one in Cleveland feels they can afford. TheSpun.com. And just to complicate matters further, the Watson storyline hasn't gone away. The Browns chose not to open Deshaun Watson's 21-day practice window this week, which keeps his comeback timeline on hold and preserves roster flexibility. Stefanski's answer about Watson was deliberately vague. I'm not sure if that's what we're doing, which reads as open-ended theater. On one hand, waiting buys the team time to assess his rehab from 2 Achilles surgeries. On the other, it prolongs uncertainty and keeps the front office from making a clean pivot. Yahoo Thethau. So the Browns are stuck in a 3-way tug of war. Gabriel's starts versus Sanders' hype versus Watson's rehab. Each choice has costs. Starting Gabriel preserves a semblance of continuity and lets a rookie grow through mistakes, but continuity looks thin when the offensive line is getting gashed and special teams are gifting opponents points. Turning to Sanders offers a dramatic reset and the media adrenaline rush of see what he can do, but it also risks throwing an untried rookie into an unstable offense with a porous O-line. Bringing Watson back from 2 Achilles surgeries is the most politically fraught option. It could calm fan anger if he plays well, or it could become an expensive public failure if he's not the same player. SI, here's the operational reality. Cleveland's problems are structural, not just cosmetic. The offensive line allowed 6 sacks and 24 pressures in this game. That's not a rookie QB problem alone. That's a line grading failure. Special teams coach Bubba Ventrone has to answer for the kickoff and punt returns and the defensive penalties late in the game. Holding and offsides at the worst possible time are textbook momentum killers that fall squarely on coaching and situational discipline. Fixes are possible, but they're not glamorous. They're done in meetings and practice reps and by holding players accountable for lane integrity and tackling fundamentals. There's also an image problem. Dillon Gabriel was even nominated for NFL Rookie of the Week after this loss, and that prompted a chorus of disbelief online. The nomination highlights a disconnect. Inside the league, some evaluators still see flashes worth rewarding. Among the fan base, the on-field reality feels far less impressive. That gap between league recognition and fan perception is toxic when a team is losing. It feeds conspiracy, breeds mistrust, and gives every bad play a backstory. The Sun. What should the Browns do next? Short answer, triage the fundamentals first, then make the quarterback call. Step 1 is special team surgery. Tighten lanes, reinforce tackling technique, and simplify assignments if need be. Step 2 is protect the passer. Quick game designs, slide protections, and max pro personnel on obvious blitz downs to prevent the repeated sacks that kill drives. Step 3 is clear messaging. The coaching staff must explain the quarterback plan publicly but coach privately, so the locker room isn't split between supporters of one name or another. And finally, treat Watson's timeline with measured realism. If he's not ready to be an immediate solution, the team should stop signaling false hope. SI. The human element matters. These are athletes in a pressure cooker. A rookie quarterback's confidence can be fragile, a backup's aura can grow into expectation, a returning veteran's rehab can be as much psychological as physical. Fans want a decisive answer. Start Sanders, bring back Watson, bench Gabriel, but the real answer is messy, incremental, and ugly. Repair the phases, stabilize the line, and then judge the passer. That's what sustainable teams do. It's just a lot less clickable than a one-game spark. CT Insider. If you're keeping score in Cleveland, the Browns sit 2-7. They're bleeding credibility with some of their fan base, and every week that passes without a clean resolution grows the pressure. The next steps are obvious and boring. Fix fundamental errors on special teams, shore up the offensive line protections, and make a transparent, defensible plan for the quarterback carousel. Until then, the noise will keep getting louder and the record will keep getting uglier. If you want this rewritten as a 60-second social clip or tightened into studio red bullets for live TV, say the length and I'll pull the lines into sharp, record-ready sections.